What is up? Sick man, week 20. We are in May, which means we are ever closer to the playoffs. And there's two divisions we're gonna discuss. We're gonna discuss the Central and we're gonna discuss the Southwest this week for the very last time. And to be honest with you guys, I'm pretty happy about that. There's some god awful teams on here. I think they're happy. I think they want their season to be done. But who have we got? We've got a regular scheduled programming. We've got the one and only Albanian analyst wrapping everything blue and teal, House Lasku. Got the owner of both super teams, a true trailblazer. We've got House of 03. We've got Lou Dort's number one fan, and he's hoping for the Corey Joseph Revenge Tour. It's all aboard the Parantic Express. Keeping all doors closed since 97. A kiss from a rose. Like Lambert. And finally, seasoned with wild views, opinions, and outrages. We've got Salt Bray. Guys, how are we doing? We are in the penultimate week of the regular season. How are you feeling?
Ready for the playoffs, baby.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But let's go through this tough episode first.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of good on here. We're going to start off with Central, which I think potentially might be one of the worst divisions in the league. And where do we start? We start with the man with the worst record out of all of the 5 GMs, and that's Salt Bray to cap off or to start this division. And we're going to start in Indy for the very last time. The Pacers, 2-2 this week, which is a good record for this week. Okay, 30 and 33 overall. Yeah, Bray. I mean, talk to me about Indy.
Yeah, they are 5-5 in their last 10. So this kind of 500 stuff is what we expect. Is what we've seen all the time from the Pacers. They're currently sat in 9th in the East. They had wins against the Magic and the Thunder, and then losses against the Nets and the Blazers. So they're beating poorer teams and losing to better teams, which is what you would expect. I mean, even so, there is they could miss the playoffs here with the playing format that we've got.
Yeah, it's as Alex Ferguson would say, it's squeaky bum time in terms of the playoffs. And the Pacers are really in that mix. Talking about blowing out teams, wow. The Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder. This is why I got on you last week, Bray, because nobody should be losing to the Thunder, because the Thunder, you know, there's a lot of army tanks strolling through. The tankathon is on. In that game, I have my stat line of the week. Domantas Sabonis. This man, 26 points, 19 rebounds, 14 assists. He shot 10 of 13, 2 of 3 from deep in 30 minutes.
He had a triple double in the first half.
Yeah.
That's how much they were killing the Thunder. This
is going to lead to my point, Bray, because only 2 other active players have done it since the play-by-play era in 97-98. Who are they? Who can tell me?
Who's done it? I would say LeBron.
One player's done it twice.
Has LeBron done it?
Nope, LeBron is not in that.
Okay, Westbrook's probably done it.
I've done it on 2K. You know, I've definitely done it. You know, on the lowest difficulty.
Young guard is definitely in there.
Yeah, Herman sweating out. I was even sweating out when I was playing Ed yesterday. But yeah. Any other guesses?
I mean, Westbrook is the obvious guess. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's neither Westbrook or LeBron on there.
Westbrook is on that.
Yeah,
and he's done it twice. You need one more. And I'll give you a clue. This man is the front runner.
Jokic. I was going to say Jokic feels like the...
Yes, correct. Jokic is it. And also, Pacers win actually against the Thunder marked the largest margin of victory by a road team in NBA history. Who did it surpass? Well, Bray, you'll be happy to know the Celtics actually beat the Bulls by 56 in 2018. All right, closing thoughts before you say goodbye to Indy, Bray.
It's been a tough season. They have performed basically as well as they did last year, but they've had some injuries, and a lot of other teams in the East compared to last year have made a jump. So you look at the Sixers, made a massive jump. You look at the Nets, made a massive jump. The Knicks made a big jump. The Hawks made a big jump. Heat probably took a step back. Celtics take a step back. Hornets make a jump. and the Wizards have put a lot of pieces. Obviously, they're similar kind of records, but as I've just alluded to, I like that Wizards team a bit more than this Pacers one, and it means they've stalled. They've got an old team. They've got a team that's very guard heavy in a league that's dominated by wings. So I would be a little bit concerned as a Pacers fan moving into next season. And if we do this again next season, I'm not sure I would be so high on the Pacers. They were one of the teams I picked relatively early in our draft. So I think I might have learned from my errors.
I know you're going to say something crazy, bro. Are you going to predict they should blow it up?
They need to get younger. And in order to do that, they need to trade a big piece, which means that they have got some decent some decent guards. But it's just really tough because their team is all in their late 20s, early 30s. Malcolm Brogdon is a really, really good piece. Could you get a young wing? Could you maybe, if it doesn't go well for the Celtics, and are they looking to get off Brown or Tatum or something? Are they looking to do something drastic? Could you prey on a situation like that where these guys do become available? But honestly, in the Pacers situation, they're going to need other teams to have big problems and want to shake things up in order for them to get anything done. And I think they just have to really prey on opportunities. When you come up against Kevin Durant, against the likes of Tobias Harris, against the likes of Ben Simmons, against the likes of Jimmy Butler, against the Giannis, against Julius Randle, who do you have that's going to go out and defend one of those guys and compete? And they've either got guys who are slightly too big and a bit too slow, or slightly too small and not strong enough. So that's obviously where the core of the league is. That's why we see all these wings get drafted so high. And I think over the years it's proved you need one of these guys. So we'll see what they do. They might look to roll it back. I think their coach Nate Bjorkgren is safe. He's a really, really good defensive minded coach, but just hasn't had the pieces to put it together. I think even a sideways move for them where they could get some guys that fit with Sabonis better could help them make that jump to the next step. But East is pretty loaded up now. Well,
this may be goodbye, Indy. We might see you, but I don't think it's going to be for very long. Yeah. So it's goodbye, Indy, and another team that we're going to be saying goodbye to. And George, this is very embarrassing. On TNT when they have the quotes and the people with what they said, and we said, "Oh, the Bulls are going to make playoffs." They're not even making the play-in, bro. We haven't. The starters haven't even come out. We might have left the restaurant early. It's embarrassing. Bro. Yeah, the credit card has been declined. The Bulls 0-4 this week, 26-38 overall. I'm just embarrassed. I'm embarrassed as a host. And Jordan, you can take it away.
Yeah, honestly, I'm right there with you, man. Honestly, looking at the league table, and the thing is, when I was reading through, I was like, this could still happen. This could still happen. They still got a chance. Trying to big myself up a bit, and then I saw who they were playing in their next few games, and then that's when it was the massive gut punch for me, and I thought, nah, not a chance. Ray was right. I'll save the money on the Bulls playoffs jersey for him, and I'll wait another time. But yeah, to add insult to injury, 4-0 for this week, 4-0, and on top of that, Levine is out again. Levine is out, for them, which makes it even harder for them, being one of their star players and key contributors in that aspect. Even watching them in the Atlanta Hawks game, it was just a tough watch. They had a good start off, and again, they built up that momentum, but as soon as it came into the third quarter, Hawks went on a run. Trey was doing literally anything and everything he wanted. It was insane. It got to a point where they were on a 13-0 run. 13-0 run from the Hawks, and the Bulls were up at the half, 62 to 50 something.
Yeah.
So they had a decent lead at that point, but it just went, and yeah.
You're right with that, because the Bulls in a couple of games this week, the Knicks, they lost the final quarter by 18. Emmanuel quickly started to take over in that final quarter. He's hitting those floaters and the pick and roll threes within the pick and roll game. And in the Hawks game, they lose the third quarter by 16 as well. So they're in good positions. Yeah, they're not the strength, because I think Vooch missed that last game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Bray.
I mean, I was going to say one of the things I've noticed is that Trey, that's a nice matchup for the Bulls. He likes playing the Bulls. He talks.
Yeah.
I think
Every time.
with Quickly, mentioned Quickly did it to him as well. This is like lack of guard defenders. Like, sorry, Kobe White. Even when Zach LaVine's playing, they're not stopping other guards. Like Satoransky's not a bad defender, but he's basically a zero scoring the ball, so you can't play him that much. Yeah, they haven't got anyone to.
Sounds like a budget Clippers, eh, Ed? Sounds like a budget Clippers. Yeah. George, so I did want to talk to you about something which I thought was really funny, and I sent it on the group. Denzel Valentine, one of the worst shots in a crucial late possession against the Heat. The Bulls have clawed themselves back in the game. They're down 5. He gets a rebound. And to be honest, I blame Steph Curry, because this man, confidence in the world. He pulls up three just inside half court. You're not Steph Curry. So to say the Bulls commentators were not happy. Stacey King was like, no, that's not the shot we wanted. Jordan, I think that play, I don't know what you think, but I think that sums up the Bulls season perfectly.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, give credit to the Bulls. There were spurts. I remember we were both on our high point towards the beginning of the season.
I like their coach. I really like their coach. I like Billy Donovan. I think he's a good coach.
But ever since it just went up and down, just like Bray said, he predicted it like a weatherman. You might as well change his nickname now. The Bulls weatherman. But yeah, and like he said earlier, like when you got the trades in, I was thinking, yeah, this is it. They're going to be able to make a bit more of a push and get back to that strong standard and where they were before. And then it just came crashing back down again. So it's tough. But definitely with those decisions making on the court, it's just lackluster, man. And now they're in a position where I know Pat said he believes that the team hasn't given up yet and they're still trying to make a push. That's what he's been reported down as saying. But with the play of where the trade's at, where they could make that push and potentially tire out the players and not even be able to get that far out of the play-in tournament, as opposed to keeping that top 4 pick, is that a position? Which one would you want to choose? Like, they're more likely to get the pick at this point than actually make it into play-in, considering who they've got to play as well. They got 2 games against the Nets. They also got your Sixers, I believe.
They got them tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Roll over, Bulls. Roll over. Go on, Bray.
At the moment, they have, about a 22-23% chance of keeping that pick as of right now. So you kind of like the Magic's odds on that one.
Well, George, let's close out the Bulls. What do you want to say as we say goodbye to? I feel like you're disappointed. You know when you got parents' evening and your kid just hasn't performed as you wanted them to, and the teacher's like grilling you, and then you get home and your mum's like, okay, and I feel like that's what the Chicago Bulls are. You should have performed better. You should have got those high marks.
Oh, talk when you get home. You're lucky, Alex. Mine was we'll talk in the car. We'll talk in the car. No, don't say anything. We'll talk in the car. But yeah, definitely agree with that. I think from the beginning of the season, a lot of the Bulls players had the most to prove and the most on the line for this season for them. Like Kobe White, in that last season, he performed really well, and then now it's just kind of tough and crumbling a bit, and in that starting position. Although there's been bright sparks with Williams and stuff, it's just tough. And I think I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm gonna go with Bray. You know, blow it up, make the tank in. You know, keep that pick.
I'm opposite.
You're opposite, really?
We flip flopped here. So
yeah, you can't do it now.
So George,
you think they should go for the play-in?
Well, no, not this season. But I think moving forward, don't you?
Sorry. Let me reiterate. I'm not saying for this season, just end it. Don't actually make that push. I'm not saying
you're saying do your best to get to maybe
to keep that pick. Yeah.
They need to have meetings with the OKC Thunder, Orlando Magic, talk tips on tanking, how to lose games.
Yeah,
that's what they need to do.
I think it's not worth it to make that push to go and they're not getting anything out of it. Yeah.
I don't think you would understand how gutted I would be if you guys get the pick this year. I'll be super pissed off.
Here's how I think it works, though. If you don't get the pick this year, you don't just not get any pick. It rolls over
next year.
So you will get picks.
There is a scenario where we won't get any picks. I think if it's rollovers for next year and we don't get it next year, I think that's when it sort of becomes we might not get a pick.
Expiring, fine. Yeah. But I think they're obviously you alluded to it. We kind of what you were hoping for more after they made that trade. They haven't been able to work it out. They've got some pieces. I think if they need to land some people in free agency because they're going to probably lose Larry Markkanen. And looking forward to next year, I think with a good training camp and maybe some extra pieces, there is hope there. A little bit.
Yeah. So where do you see the improvement being? Where do you think they can get to? Let's say if it all goes well.
They need a point guard. That's what they need. That's why I said on the trade deadline was disappointing they couldn't get Lonzo. But Lonzo's going to be expensive, and a lot of teams are going to be going after him. And from his perspective, the ball's not necessarily the right landing spot. I'm sure we can get into that in some more detail for this season, though. I think see you later, Bulls.
I really want to pick up the mood, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because the Cleveland Cavaliers are next. I will say this about Matt: the North Face hoodie is clean, it's crisp. The Cavaliers, they're not. They're burnt. They've been burnt all season. 0-4 this week. They're 21-43 overall. Dull.
But weren't the Cavs supposed to make the playoffs a couple of weeks ago, man? I'm just checking.
I'll touch on that. Okay.
The dull. I want more dull takes, Matt.
Yeah. The Cavs, they are certainly not fresh. I set them the challenge of making the play-in last time we spoke because I made a prediction that I reckon 30 wins would get you that play-in spot. That prediction is looking true, okay? So I got half my prediction right. The second half of my prediction was that I thought the Cavs could push on and get to that play-in spot. It looks like the Wizards have done that. The Cavs have gone the other way and have decided to try and push for that 15th spot rather than the 10th spot in the East. So, they've in the 12 games since we last spoke about the Cavs, they've only won 2. They're on a 6-game losing streak at the moment. And the thing that is embarrassing about that 12-game run in which they've only won 2, only Miami are above 500 out of their opponents at the time when they faced them. So they were all very beatable teams.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah, but here we go. Now it's going to get really interesting, Matt, because there's some stuff that's come out in the Cavs, and this normally happens at the end of the season when shit's hit the fan, right? First off, okay, I've got my weird stat line of the week. Okay, in the Wizards game, Kevin Love, okay, 0 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist in 22 minutes. Guys, he didn't take a single shot. He didn't take a single shot for 22 minutes. Okay, why am I talking about this? This is why, because a report came out this week that the Cavaliers players are not happy with Colin Sexton. Various Cavs players have been frustrated by the way that he dominates the ball. And apparently the opponents have been taunting them, saying that, he's not going to pass you the ball. So I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Go on, Matt. What do you think about this?
Like that's funny, but like Kevin Love, and he's not exactly one to chat at the moment because there's I don't know if you've seen, but in the defeat to the Raptors earlier on this week, I can't remember which Raptor
It's
player
the
it was,
inbound play, right?
Yeah.
So a Raptor, there was Raptors just scored like just a typical 2-point field goal, and then the ref threw the ball to Love to inbound it, and instead of inbounding it, he just swatted at the ball, which effectively did inbound it straight to, I think it was Anunoby, and then he just passed it, and then 3 points. So they went from being 6 points down with 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter, to being 9 points down, just because of Love's just carelessness. So you can say that they're all like laughing at Sexton and taking the piss, etc. with that, but he's not exactly setting the example that you'd expect from a player like him to be setting with actions like that.
Yeah, and it sort of reminds me of a Game of Zones where, you know, LeBron and Kevin Love are in the hot tub, and he's like, "Stop trying to fit out and fit in, Kevin." It seems like he's just he seems like he does. He whines a lot. Yeah, he didn't get bought out, did he? But like, you can't be doing that on an inbounds play. That's ridiculous, man. And you're not. And I don't know why. I don't know if he's taking a stand against Colin Sexton, not shooting the ball in 22 minutes. That's inexcusable. That's not good.
No, that he's making a point there. He's definitely making a point there by not shooting. And like, honestly, could you imagine how annoying it would be if you're putting in the work, you're getting in positions to shoot, and your defender's like, "What are you doing? You're not going to get the ball." Like, how it's so troll. It is so troll and disrespectful. And the worst part is, it's true. It's so true.
Matt, you can close this out with the Cavs, man. I know this. You're going to be happy to do this. I don't want to take this pain on any longer.
Yeah, very happy to see the Cavs go. They were my team that I drafted last. So they were my final pick out of the 6th picks, and they have currently, I think, the 6th worst record in the league. So from that perspective, you could say I've done okay. Mm-hmm. So I could look at it from a positive that way. However, they've just not been fun. They've scored the lowest points in the league. They rank bottom 5 for field goals, 3 points, free throw percentage, turnovers, shocking, everything. They're just awful, boring, dull team. Don't want to see you again. Bye.
If you could compare the Cavaliers to a UK crisp, some boring, dull crisp, what would they be? What crisp would they be? Would they be ready salted? I mean, I'm personally a fan of salt and shake.
Yes, salt and shake. Yes,
salt and shake, but you've lost the packet of salt.
Yes.
Oh, it's so dead, man. It's so dead. What guy is just like, I've got it. We need to mix it up. Let's just separate the salt from the crisp.
No.
No. Yeah. You got anything else to say apart from salt and shake?
No, they don't deserve any more words from me. Like, they've given me such little wins, so I'll give them little attention. Bye.
Yeah. Well, at least you got the crisp hoodie on, man. Yeah, never. Right, we'll move to Detroit after the break. Tough talk indeed. Oh, and speaking of tough talks, oh boy, it's a hat trick. It's 3 in a row. Detroit basketball. Yeah, wow. Jay Wild, 1 and 2 this week. Man, this division is so bad. 19 and 45 overall. Detroit, another team I'm happy not to talk about anymore. Jay Wild, take it away.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about how bad this division is. One of the key things about it is that most of these teams are teams that have completely changed what they were from the beginning of the season, and this is a season that's been weird enough without changing a roster completely. Like, the Pacers had a really good start, and then they changed things up, and then it went down the toilet. Same thing with the Bulls. They had a little bit of an identity, and then they made big trades at the deadline, and then it all went to crap because they didn't know what to do. So Detroit, all they've done is lose Blake Griffin, who wasn't really playing anyway. So they just sucked the whole time, unfortunately. But
Waddy. He's hoodwinked them, hasn't he? Let's be real. He's He's put back in with his left hand. That's not a simple dunk.
Yeah, no, he was. He's duped him for sure.
He shagged them bad. Anyway, go on, Wally.
We had the only game they won. I'd usually be happy if they'd won a game, but they beat my beloved Hawks. Beat us by 14 as well. They had 6 guys in double figures. Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Plumlee, Corey Joseph.
There he is.
Yay! 15. And then Frank Jackson, who he's only played 35 games for them this season, but he has had some really good scoring outputs. In the last 10 games, he's had 18 or more in 6 of those last 10 games. So he's coming out looking nice for them. And then Diallo is no one who had double digits in that game. So for some reason, we just, us Hawks, we just obviously a little bit too gassed. We've won too many injuries and we played well, even though we've been a bit depleted, but seems to be catching up with us a little bit. So let's see how that works out for the Hawks. And then moving on to Dallas, Killian Hayes had 11 assists. He's back now. So it's nice to see him do some bits. I've expressed before my uncertainty about him and how he might progress in the league, but it's nice to see him get some double-digit assist numbers because not one of their players averages over 5 assists a game, so that's why it kind of makes it tough for them to do anything. They're 18th in assists for the season amongst the league. Not that they're high in anything else, so 26th in points, 23rd in rebounds, and they're 23rd in pace, and their field goals 24th. So they play slow, they don't score efficiently, so nothing really seems 100% by design. They're just trying to see what they can get out of some of their young players to see what they can move forward with, which is why I'm sort of throwing out some of these younger guys and just seeing sort of what they can be doing. But somebody who I have been pretty certain on from the get-go is Sadiq Bey.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, man, he's been very well. He's on 111 threes now this season, which he's now broken the record for most threes by a rookie for a Detroit Piston. The guy before him was Brandon Knight. He held that for a while. I think it was 2012. I think Brandon Knight had that. The numbers left my head now, but either way, that stood for a long time, and Sadiq Bey is doing bits basically. And of course, with that record, he is also leading all rookies in 3 points made as well. So bright future ahead because he's a pretty good defender too. So if you can 3 indeed, then yeah, any team is going to win.
Yeah, we're going to stay on the rookies because even though it's been an awful season and I've had experience with this, at least they get to play with their rookies. That's good. At least they get meaningful time. Sadiq Bey is averaging 11, 4 and 1.2 assists per game. Isaiah Stewart, Wildy, just a quick question. Do you know Isaiah Stewart's nickname?
He's Twigs. No, that's Jalen. That's somebody else.
Are you ready for this?
Go on.
Beef Stew.
Oh.
They call him Beef Stew. So Beef Stew is averaging 7 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. And you've got Killian Hayes, who has been out a lot, but he's averaging 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists. You've said it before about Sadiq Bey being their bright spot. Sorry. Which position would you want to see the Pistons draft in the upcoming draft? Because they're going to have a high pick, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They could go, I think, in terms of the middle. Sorry, let me rephrase this. I think they either want to be going towards more of a center or a point guard. I think wings and everything, I think that's actually pretty good when you're looking at Sadiq Bey and Jeremy Grant. Those are 2 nice pieces to build around. Me personally, I would like to see them go for a point guard because you obviously want somebody to be able to dictate the offense. And if you've got somebody like Sadiq Bey who is so good from 3-point and can move around, and you've also got another guy who handles the ball like Jeremy Grant, then it just allows you to be more versatile in your offensive approach in games. So you obviously you can sometimes find gems and centers around the league, and they can be a little bit not easier to come by because there's more good guards in the league than there are centers. But I just think where if you're trying to compete with other teams where there are so many other good guards, you really need to be finding your James in the draft as soon as possible, and then potentially picking up some big guys in free agency. I think that's going to be the easier way around to do it, because also you're looking at, if you're trying to pick up guards from other teams, probably going to end up paying them a lot more. It's nice to get some really good guards on those rookie contracts and working it around that way, because big guys tend to be a little bit cheaper if you're trying to pick them off in the free agency market.
Yeah, definitely. Wildy, close it out. Give me your thoughts on Detroit. I think you're very disappointed about how this turned out. We're obviously hoping for a Blake revenge tour. Redemption
and he
tour.
got it, just not for Detroit. So we wished for it, just wasn't in the red and blue. I mean, yeah, I haven't hated it so much as I should have, given their record. I was very disappointed. As we said, I was hoping they might do a little bit better. But given the makeup of the team and having lost Blake when you'd hope he'd be a bit more of a leader, instead he was a foot out the door kind of guy in that situation. It's I've enjoyed watching some of their younger guys. I like Sadiq Bey a lot, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. And I think that it was very obvious early on that it was going to be half them turn us around. So I suppose my disappointment has worn off, and I've just tried to look for the positives in some of their younger guys, basically. But yeah, goodbye. Yeah.
Goodbye. Another one bites the dust, eh?
Yeah.
And we're happy. And a lot of losses in this division. And what does that lead to? Somebody's going to be causing some kind of hope in this division. And the only hope for this division to win a chip is for this team, the Milwaukee Bucks. Ed and I watched the game yesterday. Whew, give me a Milwaukee Brooklyn 7-game series. Why? So Philly don't have to do it. Ed, so the Bucks, they went 3-1 this week. Finally, got a positive record. They are on the fringes of the top 2 seeds. But yeah, take it away, because this is the only hope that we have from this division.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. Obviously, Bucks were my first pick, and I saw the future. I saw the rest of the teams in the division being absolutely trash, and I picked Milwaukee. Anyway, enough about me. So Bucks, last time we spoke, 33-20, now 40-24, as Alex mentioned. So 7-4 in the past 11 games, so since we last spoke. And I mean, we could go over all the wins and losses. Like they had. Bray mentioned it. They had the game against the Rockets where they got blown out. What was it, 143 points to give up to the Rockets? Not good. One positive is that Giannis wasn't playing, but still, you shouldn't be giving up 143 points to the Rockets. Other losses to the Suns and OT, Grizz and Hawks. However, 3 games we're going to look at are the 3 of their wins. Twice against the Sixers and once against the Nets, because as Alex mentioned, that could potentially be what we see in the playoffs. So the 3 games, first game against Philly. When me and Alex were watching the Nets game, I said to Alex, "Oh shit, Bobby Portis isn't playing." And Alex like, "Yeah, but any important player's not playing." I'm like, "Bobby Portis is not playing." I say that to say this: Bobby Portis scored 23 points on Philly in their first game. He was 9 of 11 from the field, 5 of 5 from 3. And Doc Rivers called the Sixers soft after that game, which is a nice way to describe how that first game went. The second game did not go any better. Bobby Portis again had chipped in 17 points. Another guy I've spoken about previously was Chris Middleton. I feel that he should be getting a couple more shots. I do really rate him as a player, but he's had some really poor performances. And one of them more recently is the second game against Philly. He was 0 from 6 in 20 minutes, but the positive was that the Bucks were blowing out Philly anyway. Now we get to the main event, which was the game between Philly and Brooklyn. As Alex mentioned,
Milwaukee.
Sorry,
you said Philly.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. We watched it together, and it was a really, really fun game. Just seeing Giannis and KD go back and forth in terms of, and different playing styles a little bit. But then Giannis was also, I think this is the most threes he's ever hit in the game, and he was taking a lot of shots from outside the restricted area, and that was obviously an effort for Brooklyn to say, "Okay, cool, Giannis, shoot." Like, we're going to let you shoot, and credit to him, he did make the shots. A couple of things I noticed. Brooklyn, the the Bucks had a lot of blocks on Brooklyn and some really, really nice defensive plays. There was one that Giannis got on KD late in the game, which you never see happen to KD, but because of Giannis's length, he can cause KD issues. I mean, the guy still drops 40 points on 80% health. Some N'Golo Kante numbers right there, but it's a and then another couple of things. Milwaukee had, so Middleton and Giannis together, 9 of their 32 shots were assisted. So 70% of the shots that they made were unassisted. And we saw a lot of ISO ball between Giannis and Chris Middleton. That game, I was like, Alex, these Chris Middleton jumpers and mid-range is just so nice and so pleasant to watch. But he has those games where he just doesn't score. That's nothing the Bucks did to make the most of the advantages. They felt they had a size advantage against Brooklyn that can take them one-on-one in ISO ball, which is, again, nice to see. However, there was some negatives to that as well. We saw late in the game, Milwaukee ran this really weird, like early in the shot clock ISO plays, like in the first 5 or 6 seconds, Giannis was just taking mid-range jumper. And this was like late game. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, at least maybe have a bit of ball movement, then go to that if you've got 10, 15 seconds left, but it was so early in shot clock. Maybe that's to throw Brooklyn off, but I didn't particularly like it. And then we get to the last shot of the game. There's about 3 or 4 seconds left for KD. He catches it, turn around, shoot straight away. I don't think KD realized how much time he had, or maybe he anticipated PJ Tucker being tighter to him on defense, and maybe it was good defense from Milwaukee. So it will give him a bit of space, so we see where he can go to. But Nets didn't have Harden, Bucks didn't have Bobby Porter, so it averages it out. So it was a fair duel in the end. Oh, look at Bray, like really loved that. Bray
I
loved
love
that.
BP. I love BP.
Exactly.
BP's my boy.
BP's your
BP.
boy. Give me a Bucks Nets 7-game series, because that was just great. All about matchups. Also, Drew did a really good job of guarding Kyrie as well, which is, people have talked about Drew as this defender, as good reputation. It's good to see him actually back it up as well in the big games that matter, because this is a big game for the Bucks, and they potentially could overtake the Nets for that second seed. Ed, I have some points about the Bucks. So before the All-Star break, the Bucks were 7th in fewest turnovers at 13.6. After the All-Star break, they ranked 23rd now at 14.9. So you've got that. The second point is, again, with the All-Star break, the Bucks opponents are shooting the most amount of threes amongst any team. I know this has been a recurring theme. They're connecting on 15.5 out of 41 attempts. You've got more turnovers, more threes from the opponent. What's a bigger problem for the Bucks in the postseason?
Can I say the thing about, okay, so I would say threes from opponents, and that's a couple of reasons. Firstly, with turnovers, well, how can you limit turnovers? ISO ball. At least if it's ISO ball, there's less ball movement, and it can play to the strengths of Chris Middleton, who's an oversized 2, and Giannis, who can overpower most power forwards in the league. So if that's the offense you are going for, that's fine. Draws double teams, you kick up to open man. It sounds very simple, but it won't be when it gets to the playoffs. The other thing about the 3-point shooting is, I was having a look, I think percentage is more important than obviously attempts. And the Bucks currently have the 6th worst percentage allowed of 3-point shots after the All-Star break, which is 37.8%. The only teams worse are all terrible teams, well, apart from the Celtics. So Minnesota are allowing 41%, Houston 39, Boston 39, OKC 38, and then we get to Bucks, who are also around roughly 38 point, which is something they need to fix up. They can't let teams be hitting threes at a high clip. So that is the one I am worried about. Maybe the positive is that when the game does slow down in the playoffs, there'll be less of those 3-pointers, but it's still quite concerning.
All right. Well, is this goodbye, Ed, to the Bucks?
Because
I heard you're thinking about picking them number 1 pick. That's what I heard. That's what you were whispering to me yesterday.
So Mel Kiper and they did like a couple mock drafts. So is this where you're getting your information from? Are these some like
I just got inside info. Maybe you're speaking to Joel. I don't know. He's a Bucks boy.
The thing with the Bucks is that because of their history, we are going to be a bit like, oh, should we really take them or not? And that's obviously what the conversation around the Bucks. We've seen this happen before. Amazing in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, but then there's also the flip side where we've now got the confirmation bias that we're not necessarily looking at the details of sort of the changes that have happened, that we think, oh, it's the Bucks. They're great in the regular season. They're going to be poor in the playoffs. And it's just the easy narrative. So I do think I'm a bit higher than everyone else is on the Bucks, but we shall see when we get to the playoff draft.
This is poker face. Good riddance, eh? Good riddance, Central. I think we're happy with that.
See you later.
Let's take a short break and then we'll head to the
Bye.
southwest. Is everybody gone? Bye.
Bye-bye.
Keep smiling like this.
Um,
Oh.